All right, so it is May 25th, 2024. Again, May 25th, 2024. It's a Saturday. And I took a bit of a nap this afternoon. And during that nap, I had another dream. In the dream, I somehow communicated with my child abusing ex. He was actually pursuing me to communicate, and I'm not exactly sure, I don't remember right now what he was doing, but he pursued me, and he was dragging me back into court for more money and things like that I did not have. I did not have more money. So that part's definitely, all of that thus far is rooted in reality. Absolutely 100% rooted in reality. And we went to this court date, and I think it was the one, it was like a court date in front of the Attorney General. And so we were in the courtroom, and in this dream we were in the courtroom in person. And I wasn't able to get my evidence together, which is all rooted in reality, because they took my money from my last paycheck, which is true, this really happened, and there is no money. I mean, I have not even been able to have a water delivery at all. I was supposed to have a water delivery 2 weeks ago, and I haven't been able to get that water delivery, and we're basically out of water, me and the animals. So I have a little bit of bottled water for myself, which if I wasn't working full time, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, in the dream, we went to the court date in person, and I explained when it was my turn to speak that I wasn't able to put together the brief and the evidence I have, the exhibits I have. I was going to do that. I was going to, send it or have it there ready, but I wasn't able to because you took my money, and that is the state took my money, which is what happened. I mean, I've been paying. I paid. Just a paycheck prior to that I paid, but then they took my paycheck, they took money, they stole money out of the very next paycheck. So that very next paycheck is the one where I would pay all my bills. And then the second paycheck of the month is basically where I pay for the ongoing abuse, child abuse, the ongoing child abuse, and the now abuse by proxy is ramping up. That's what I'm paying for in reality. But I pay that out the second paycheck each month. And then the first paycheck each month is when I literally pay all my bills, including my phone, my internet, that is needed for work. So that's what I explained in the court date. And then and then when I was saying that I, was going to get my exhibits, my evidence together with the brief, my ex was in court, like doing the smirky smile and chuckling, like I was just lying and BSing. And in this dream, I looked at him right in court and I said, no, I really do have evidence. I really do. I honestly have evidence. And he started like chuckling more, like he thought it was just a joke, like funny. And then I said, no, I know what you've been doing since the last proof I had. I know what you've been doing, and I have evidence of that. And at first he still continued chuckling and laughing and, like trying to make it a joke in front of the Attorney General and stuff. And then as I insisted, I really do. And I said to him, like, I looked at him and I said, you know what I'm talking about. You know what you've been doing. And I have proof. And I was going to give it to the Attorney General today. I have proof. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I said something like, I'm still going to give it to the Attorney General. Whenever they stop taking all of my money, stealing all of my money, both paychecks basically at this point, I'm going to put it together and I'm going to give it to the Attorney General. I really am. And probably the Attorney General, because the state is like it supports child abuse, they probably just gave him like all of my money forever. But when in the dream, when we left the courtroom, he approached me and he tried to engage in conversation with me, trying to find out like what I had and where I had it and things like that. And I refused to tell him where I had it, particularly, and exactly what it was, because it's a lot of different things that I have. It's not just one proof. I have like a number of different things. And I really do. This is 100% reality. I really do. And I really was going to give it to the Attorney General, but they stole my money, so I couldn't put my stuff together to give it to the Attorney General. The state stole my money. So he then got nervous. He got nervous, which is not characteristic. This is where it goes into dream realm, because he's arrogant forever to the end and beyond the end. So this is not characteristic, but he got nervous in the dream. I guess in the dream, he was more normal than what he really is. And he wanted to work a deal. And I said to him, you know that this is wrong. You know, you took the kids by lying, by committing perjury. You know that you lied about these things you accused me of. It's already been proven I never abused any children. That's already been proven. The state worker even said so in court, that I never abused any children. You know that part's not true, that you lied, and you know the rest of it is lies too, that you made up, that you pulled off this scam and got away with it. And I have the proof that you're doing these, things now to the kids. And I'm going to use it. I'm going to give it to the Attorney General. And no, I'm not telling you where it is. I'm not telling you where it is. And by the way, I have copies of it in more than one location, because I know how you are. And I know that you could, that you easily could get an abuse by proxy scheme going, where it gets taken away from me and then this whole thing gets swept under the rug and blah, blah, blah. So, rooted in reality, right? That part. But his nervousness is not. That's fairy tale land in the dream. And so he wanted to work a deal. And I said, this should have been, at the worst, joint custody. And I should have 50% custody at the worst. And, this is how it should be. And I should have 50% decision-making capacity and 50% like all of that. And in addition, you have medically abused the kids, and I can prove that. And this is what's going to come of that. They're going to suffer, if not die, on top of this other abuse you've done. And I can prove it. And by the way, I gave him like in the dream, I think I gave him documents about what he did medically and what it could highly likely cause. And he, uncharacteristic to reality, he was like really freaking out because I was going to give the other stuff I had, the other proof, to the authorities. And so he wanted to work a deal that I don't give the proof to the authorities, And he would let me have visitation with the kids. He would let me see the kids. He would, in essence, let me have the 50% of parenting time with the kids instead of 0. I have 0 right now. He's just doing parental alienation on top of all the other forms of abuse, which include SA right now, and has been for a long time. And so he said, yeah, the kids are in the car. The kids are in the car. And, you can take them right now and have them for a while, parenting time. And my youngest didn't want to go because they've been brainwashed so badly by the parental alienation and stuff. But my older one did want to go, and they're only a year older than the youngest. So it's not a big age difference. And so I said, yes, I will take so-and-so. I'm not going to say the name of my kids, names of my kids in this. And so I went to where my ex opened the car door, I guess. And I was right there, and my oldest, I'm not going to even say the gender to protect my kids. My oldest, their mouth was like, it was all bloody. Their mouth was really blood. Like their face was all bruised very severely, like they'd been severely battered. And the blood was all over the lips and like running down the corners of the mouth and like running off the lips. It was severe, like a lot of blood, not just a trickle. And my oldest looked at me with these desperate eyes that I'd seen so many times before and said, Mommy, please, Mommy, please. And I just reached in the car and I wrapped my arm around my oldest and I pulled them out. And I said, okay, I'll take them. I said to my ex, I'll take them for a visit then. And I won't give the authorities this proof I have if you stick to the deal. And so I took my oldest and just held them with my arm really tight and took them to my car. And we got in the car and I drove away. And then my oldest started telling me that their father had battered them and caused all this, and that their father was doing the other to the younger one as well, and was begging me to save them, to not make back up in the bleeding of my child's. So much blood, it was like running down his neck, front of the shirt. So I see my oldest child and drive away with them. And that was a dream. It was a And my other child abuser, I never, in the dream, as far as like the feeling of the dream goes, I never got to see the youngest one again because they were too brainwashed, too much parental alienation. They wanted to just continue like doing this sick stuff with their father. And the older one wanted to just stay with me, to not be beaten anymore and everything. And if I understand the dream correctly, I've been awake for a couple hours. My ex was doing all the things to my oldest too, as well as battering them so severely. I mean, they were just beaten to a pulp. We're talking burning bed kind of beating from that movie. It was really severe. There was so much blood, like blood clots and blood coming out of my oldest mouth. It was really severe. And in the dream, I was afraid to I wanted to take my oldest to a doctor, but I was afraid to, because then, the authorities would just take them right away and give them back to their father. Even battered like that, even with like the blood clots coming out of the mouth because the beating was so bad. They would just take my child and give them back to their father who beat them like that. So I wanted so badly to take my child to medical care, but I knew that I couldn't, because then they would just give my child back to the abuser. And the dream had the feeling that I ran off with my child, which, you know, was never my nature. I always obeyed the rules. I always obeyed the rules. You know, I shut up about the truth like the state wanted me to. I did everything the state wanted me to do. I obeyed everything the state wanted me to obey. I've never been like a flight risk or anything like that. Ever. So that was very uncharacteristic in the dream, that the feeling was like I ran off with my child to save my child, to save my child. It wasn't like spite and all of this stuff like that. It wasn't like wanting to do parental alienation myself. It was just to save my child. It was heartbreaking, and it was scary. I remember the dream was really scary because I didn't know what my ex was going to do next. Like, I got to drive away with my child, but what was he going to do next? You know, he could do anything. He could tell the authorities anything, and they will do anything he wants them to do. That's how it's always been. He just lies, and his lies always work. So that was a dream. And later on this month, there actually is a court date in front of the Attorney General, and I actually was not able, I could type up a brief, sure, but I can't print it because I don't have any money for printing at the library. I couldn't mail it because I didn't have any money for the postal mail. I can't, you know, put together copies of the proof I have because I'm not giving my only copies of proof. I'm not going to do that. Because then if they just want to do what they've done all this time, just, you know, basically pretend the proof doesn't exist and continue serving the abuser, then that's it. I've given all the only copies I have. I'm not going to do that. So I wasn't able to duplicate anything and then send it to the Attorney General. I wasn't able to do that. So there's nothing I can do. And when that court date comes, I'm just going to have to explain that without explaining, you know, the why. That in the past, this stuff has basically been, they've acted like it doesn't, the proof isn't there, or isn't, you know, oh, it's more like the state, like CPS knew, like they admitted the proof was there. The police admitted the proof was there. And they admitted my ex was guilty, extremely guilty of severe child abuse. They all admitted that. That wasn't even debatable. But my ex, you know, his abuse by proxy against me and his scamming and lying and just saying that I'm crazy, that was more important. That was more important than the truth. It was more valid, which is mind-blowing, because somebody who is caught red-handed with a mountain of evidence showing they're a severe child abuser, their credibility should not be better than mine. And their credibility should not be better than both the proof plus my testimony. But it was. And that's why the situation is as it is. So, in a nutshell, he is now being given more than half of my paycheck. The first paycheck of the month is garnished. Even though I've been making the payments, I made the payments, doesn't matter. They still garnished my first paycheck. And then I'm basically sure they're going to garnish the second paycheck, and there's only 2 paychecks a month. And they're probably going to garnish it for more than what the family court judge said that I was to pay, because I'm already paying far more than the family court judge said I was supposed to pay because of this garnishing that they did on the first paycheck. And so that doesn't bode well. There's no way I'm going to be able to keep my job because I have to pay for internet. I have to pay for computer equipment. And in the past, doing the hybrid schedule for work was costing an average of $1,600 a month. And I can't live where it's extremely hot because I heat stroke at 80 degrees. And I've got medical documentation and got ADA accommodation from my job to not do the hybrid schedule during the summer because of this, but it does not matter to the state. And if I can't pay for the internet and stuff and to keep my equipment running, I can't keep this job. And the amount I'm ordered to pay was based on this job. But already it's like there's no water. There's no water. There's no water, basically. I have a little bit of bottled water for myself. And I've been basically scraping whatever I can out of the water tanks to give water to the animals, the dogs and the rabbits. But when they take my money from the only other paycheck I get this month, at the end of this month, I'm not going to be able to pay for water for myself or the animals. There isn't another source of money. I don't, being a victim of abuse and abuse by proxy does not make you wealthy. It's not a wealth booster. It's not how it works. Otherwise, I would have another lawyer, and hopefully a good one, and be fighting for my kids. Or at least be fighting for them, myself without a lawyer or something. But it's $1,600 a month just to have the job I have. I have medical problems. I can't just go get another job. And, physical problems, my heart and everything else. I can't just go get another job. It doesn't work that way. And I don't have a good paying job, but I have a decent paying job. But that's going to be gone if I can't afford to do the things I have to do to keep my job, which is the hybrid schedule, the internet, the computer equipment to keep my job. I'm not going to have that job. So that's the situation. Anyway, that's it for now.